what happens during a prison lockdown? Why do they happen? What happens to the inmates? Where do you go? What are the reasons? I can give you 2 examples. One was in Aylesbury, which is a YO, young offenders. One was in Pentonville, North London, adult Nick, shithole. So let's start off in Aylesbury, which is in Buckinghamshire. Lovely little lifers Nick for kids. When I was there anyway, it was 15 to 21, and I think there was a lifers bit where you could stay on a couple of years more. Everyone over there was doing over 4 years. Everyone in there was doing over 4 years. You didn't go there unless you're doing under, mainly violent crimes as well that you was in there for. But there was a lot of lifers. You know, there was kids in there doing 35-year recs. There's kids in there doing 30 recs, and kids just not even doing a life sentence, doing 25-year sentences. Like 18, 19 years old. These were some dangerous kids. Some of them were stitched up and all, but I don't want the poor me brigade getting on my case. How can you say that about them? They did this, they did that. Some of them, mate, were stitched up rotten, but some of them were ruthless. But the lockdowns. There was one where a sharp object had been taken from somewhere. I forgot where, mate. It was probably the kitchen. A knife went missing, or something along those lines had gone missing, or a bit of metal from an office, something like that had gone missing. This was in Aylesbury. So, first thing in the morning, this is what happens. Screws come round, open the doors. They'll probably open the people that need to get the meds first, or whatever, and then they'll unlock for movements, for work. So they unlock about 8:30, unlocking your doors, going around unlocking the doors. Aldred, get to the workshop next door, education, you know, blah blah blah, so on. This didn't happen that day. They didn't tell anyone this was going to happen. Obviously they wanted to catch the person with the foreign object. So, and you start to realise something's up when they're not unlocking doors. It's usually because, you know, someone's tried topping themselves, or someone's refused to get shipped out, like moved to another jail when they barricaded up, or they've self-armed or something like that. So that's what you presume. That's what I used to presume anyway. This day, we're looking outside the cell windows, and I was up on the freeze. I was up on the 3rd landing at this point. I got sent there when I was about 19 or 20. And I was there for like 18 months. Look down out the window, and there's just screws all along, basically at every window. Like, so if I was up on the freeze, there would have been the 2s and the 1s below me, and there would have been 3 cells there, 3 cells, and there was a screw stood basically near enough on every window. So they were looking up, just looking up. What were they there for? Because they wanted to see who was going to chuck something out. And then they go, oh, it was him that did it. And then screws start moving through the cells. There's not enough screws to open every door simultaneously at the same time. That's why the screws on the outside, to see who's chucking stuff out, while the screws are going through the wing searching it. To my recollection, they didn't find what I was looking for on my wing. But that is a lockdown. That is how lockdowns happened in Aylesbury, and it went on all morning. By the afternoon, by lunchtime, it had gone back to normal. Not the longest of lockdowns, but that is a lockdown. Nobody goes, nobody moves, nobody does anything. The screws are tearing the arse out of every wing, trying to find whatever they was looking for. Second example, and I've just thought of a third as well, but I'll stick to Pentonville first. During my time in prison, mobile phones became like an epidemic. It seemed like every other cell had a phone, and it's probably 10 times worse now. And we're talking 10 plus years ago when I was there. 15 years. It was like that then, so God knows what it's like now. And back then you could get phones like that were like that big, like the size of 2 lighters, the size of your finger. Like this finger's bent, but like basically like that. You get a phone that was that big. Buttons on it were like grains of sand, and I'm sure they were just made for jail. I mean, who's ever heard of one of those phones on road? Who's ever whips out one of those phones on the street? No one. But they're everywhere in jail. But people got everything. People have iPhones, and I'm not giving away trade secrets here. Everybody knows it. Go online, people post it online what they got, iPhones, and they go for serious money, thousands upon thousands. But they were spinning cells this time to catch people with phones. This was when I was on G-Wing, and I was banged up with a geezer with a phone amongst whatever else he had. And it used to be the old wand, and the wands didn't really pick up anything because the phone's not made of metal really. Everything in it's plastic and stuff like that, yeah, and the little bits of metal that are in it, that's not picking up. They've got a thing called a chair, boss chair, which is basically like a chair that's on wheels which they wheel onto the wing. Well, it's at reception as well, so when you're coming in off the sweatbox, you sit on it. It's like an X-ray machine, alarm, all in one. So you sit on it, and if you've got something that's metal, it will bleep. Doesn't matter if it's a tiny bit or whatever, it knows you've got a phone, you're not getting away with it. So everyone's thinking, why haven't we been unlocked for movements, this, that? Why haven't we going to work? Why haven't we been unlocked for visits? Why haven't we been unlocked for medication? Someone who's near the gate, they're bringing the chair onto the wing, like looking through the window of their cell door, the crack through their cell door. They're bringing the chair onto the wing, so everyone's like, right, starts hiding their stuff and whatever. G-Wing's massive. G-Wing is one of the biggest wings in Europe, if I'm not mistaken, and from memory I think it's got 4 or 5 landings. It is huge. So I was in the middle, probably on the freeze I think. So like, you know, we're hearing people going along. It was hours. We're sitting there waiting now. He's got a phone on him. And not only are they taking people out and putting them on the chair, they're searching the cells as well, right? So they're unlocking them, taking them to the shower, searching, letting them out of the shower, taking them downstairs, putting them on the chair. And there's no way you can hide your phone in the shower anyway. You're not hiding your phone in the shower or whatever. Well, you're not having a shower, you're just being locked in that room so they can search your cell. This geezer, he's like, oh, what am I going to do, blah blah blah, I've got this thing on me and all that, and he's psyching himself up. I'm thinking, well, he's cool, isn't he? There's no way he's getting away with it, he's cool. Hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours later, it's our turn, we've come out. Everyone knows he's got one as well, because he sells bits on the wing as well. Everyone knows he's got what he's got. So everyone's watching when he comes out now. He come downstairs. We had the search, now we're downstairs. I've gone on it first. Sat on it like an electric chair, mate. Boom. without the bit that goes on your head. Nothing, I'm fine. My cellmate's kicking off, he's creating. And he's obviously got a plan in his head, which he hasn't told me. To me, it just looks like he's kicking off. Screws around, calm down, this, that, you've got to sit down. All the while, he's manoeuvring. We've got, oh, by the way, we've been searched as well. Right, and he's had the phone cheeks between his bum cheeks at this point. There's no point putting it right up there because it's going to go off, and then you're going to go to the block. And you ain't got to give it back down the block, but they're not going to let you out of the block until you give up what you got. So, as he's standing there, as he's standing there screaming and hollering, he's manoeuvred this phone to the up from his bum cheeks somehow. Like every now and again, he's screamed and he's done a little hand movement, got it into his waist, got it at the front of him. As he's gone towards the chair, it took him ages to get to the chair because they're going, you got to go. He's going, no, this is a joke. Getting inching himself closer. Every now and again, he's slapped the thing around again. He's inched this thing down into his waist, into the front of his waist. As he's got to the chair, he's sort of like made it fall down his trouser leg, and it's not fed out down the trouser leg because he's got the elastic. He's got the elastic on the ankle. So he sat down. Nothing. No beep. No nothing. Everyone's holding a beer, everyone's like looking like, what the... I can see what he's doing. I've watched him do it. I thought, you cheeky bastard. He stood up, come back to me with a grin, gone to our cell. I went, how'd you get away with that, mate? I'll never know. But a lot of people got caught that day. There was a lot of phones getting caught. A lot of people got away with it, because people hide them everywhere, even in their cell. But a lot of people did get caught. He got away with it. He was lucky, and that went on all day. And because the G-wing is so big, it took all day just to do it. So we didn't do nothing all day. We just sat around watching TV. He was on his phone after that all day talking to his bird, and that was it. But there's another one in Stockton, which is in Leicester, and this was when the prison officers went on strike. So this was a lockdown that went on longer than, just the morning or just the afternoon or all day. This went on for days. Screws went on strike and were standing outside protesting whatever they're protesting for, pay or whatever. So this was nothing. We wasn't allowed out at all during this period. Food were getting brought to the door. There was no soap, there was no showers. A couple of us were getting let out at a time to have a shower every other day or whatever. But usually when it's dinner time or whatnot, you get up, your door opened and you go downstairs for your food. And you bring it upstairs and whatnot. But this, they were bringing the sandwiches to the door for lunch. Then they were bringing dinner round, letting a couple of people use the phone every now and again. And that's when people were kicking off, People were kicking the doors. And whenever someone's got the ump in prison and they're in their cell, all they can do is kick the door. If they're frustrated, they're angry, they're scared and whatnot, they kick the door. They need attention, they kick the door, which is highly annoying. Because a lot of people can't handle it. This wing especially that I'm talking about was all singles as well. There was no doubles on this wing. Everyone had a single cell, and people like to interact, and some people start thinking like crazy shit, like they've been forgotten about and this, that, so they start creating. They can't handle it. They start kicking the door and threatening to harm themselves and this and that. Me personally, I was watching the strike on the telly. I knew there was a strike on, so I was watching it on the news. And I'm easy. Comes a point when you've done 3-4 years non-stop, which I had at that point. So gets a bit boring anyway. So I was alright behind the door. But other people, they need the social, they need the interaction with other humans. So they kick off. That's when your mental power comes into it. Can I handle this? or can't I? And a lot of people can't. They can't handle being on their own, being isolated, but what they think is cut off from everyone. So they'll do anything just to talk to a screw, because their mind starts playing tricks on them. And they might be sitting there thinking about things that's happened in the past, thinking about their bird that's just wrote them a Dear John letter, thinking about the kids they're missing. Because all the while that you're going out, working, going out for dinner, going out and having association, going out and getting to use a phone, you can sort of block out all the things that would otherwise play on your mind. And when you're behind that door and you're not getting out and you're on lockdown, that's when all those things come to the surface. And it drives a lot of people mad, and a lot of people can't handle it. So lockdowns on the whole are not a good thing. Most high majority of prisoners can't handle it. And it's getting worse these days, isn't it? During pandemic and all that, people weren't even coming out, being allowed out of their cell for days if they were. And I can imagine it probably hasn't got that much better nowadays. Lack of staff, always kicking off people nowadays. I can imagine lockdowns happen quite regularly, and it probably does people's mental health no problem. People need interaction, people need to talk to their friends, people need to talk to their loved ones, people need to go out and have a shower and go downstairs and get their own food. Because humans are social animals, aren't we? Anyway, adios.